What if the ground under your home wasn't as solid as you think? Not shaking, not cracking, not collapsing, just slowly moving. What if right now, beneath your feet, the land itself was quietly rising? So subtly that no human eye could ever notice it. And what if scientists are now saying this change is not normal? For generations, Americans have believed the ground beneath them is permanent, stable, reliable, something you never have to question. You worry about storms, floods, fires, but not the land itself. The earth is supposed to stay where it is. But what if that assumption is wrong? What if America itself is slowly changing shape? This isn't a movie plot. This isn't internet speculation. And this isn't fear mongering. This is coming from new data, from satellites orbiting hundreds of miles above Earth, from scientists who study the planet for a living, and who were not expecting what they found. The most unsettling part? You can't feel it. You can't hear it. You can't see it. No tremors, no warning signs, no dramatic moments, just quiet movement. Measured in millimeters, recorded over years, happenings beneath cities, highways, and homes where millions of people live their everyday lives, completely unaware. For a long time, these changes went unnoticed. The human body isn't designed to sense something this slow. A fraction of an inch over months. Even years, it feels like nothing at all, but satellites don't blink. Satellites don't assume. Satellites don't ignore patterns. And when scientists began comparing long-term satellite measurements, something unexpected appeared. The land wasn't sinking, it was rising in certain regions, gradually, persistently, enough to raise eyebrows, enough to trigger serious questions, enough for experts to quietly admit, this is unusual. Because land doesn't just rise for no reason. The Earth is not random. When it moves, something is pushing it. Something is changing deep below the surface, far beyond where drills reach. Far beyond where cameras can see. And history tells us something important. Big changes in nature almost never announce themselves loudly at first. They start slow. They start silent. They start easy to dismiss. Until one day, ignoring them is no longer an option. Right now, there is no disaster headline, no emergency alert, no evacuation order. And that's exactly why this matters. Because the most dangerous changes are often the ones that happen quietly, while life goes on as usual. People go to work, kids go to school, cities keep growing, all while the ground beneath them behaves in a way scientists say should not be happening. So, what exactly is happening beneath America? And why are experts concerned now? What caught scientists off guard wasn't a sudden disaster. It was a pattern, a quiet one. For years, Earth-observing satellites have been circling the planet, taking incredibly precise measurements of the land below. These machines don't just take pictures, they measure distance. They track change. They notice movement so small that even the most sensitive instruments on the ground would miss it. And when researchers began reviewing long-term satellite data stretching back years, something unusual started to appear. In several parts of the United States, the ground level was changing. Not dramatically, not suddenly, but consistently. Instead of sinking, which scientists often monitor in places affected by water loss or heavy construction, the land was doing the opposite. It was going up by small amounts, so millimeters at first, then over time, in some places, inches. That might not sound like much, but in the world of geology, even a few millimeters of movement across large areas is a big deal. The Earth is massive. It doesn't move easily. When it does, something powerful is driving it to To be clear, this wasn't an earthquake. The ground wasn't shaking. Buildings weren't rattling. No one felt a thing. Imagine it like this. Think of a balloon filling with air. Not suddenly, but slowly. You don't notice it at first, but leave it alone long enough, and you realize it's bigger than it was before. Or picture a mattress with someone gradually shifting their weight onto it. There's no jolt, no noise, just a gentle, steady lift in certain areas. That's what scientists were seeing. The ground was slowly rising, lifting upwards so gradually that daily life continued without interruption. What made this discovery more serious was the fact that it wasn't predicted. The models scientists use to understand how land behaves did not fully account for this kind of movement, especially not over such a wide area, and not for this length of time. Even more concerning, it wasn't isolated. This wasn't one strange spot on the map that could be explained away as an anomaly. Similar upward movement was detected in multiple regions, separated by distance, geology, and climate. That ruled out coincidence. And then came another surprise. The movement didn't stop. Scientists initially thought this might be temporary, a short-lived response to a specific event. But as months turned into years, the data kept updating. And the trend continued, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. This wasn't panic-worthy information. No one was shouting. No emergency statements were issued. But behind the scenes, experts began paying closer attention, because when nature behaves in a way that doesn't match expectations, it demands an explanation. And that's an important distinction. This isn't conspiracy. This isn't exaggeration. This isn't fear for clicks. This is careful observation, repeated measurements, and scientists asking honest questions about what the planet is doing beneath our feet. Curiosity comes first. Concern follows naturally. Because the Earth doesn't move without a cause, especially not over large areas and especially not for years at a time. Which brings us to the most important part of this story. The measurements are real, the movement is happening, the trend is continuing. But the real question is, why is this happening? So if the ground is rising, slowly, quietly over time, what could possibly be causing it? Scientists don't point to just one single explanation. Instead, they see a combination of powerful forces all working far below the surface, out of sight. Let's break them down, see, one by one. Pause. First, pressure deep underground. The Earth is layered. Beneath the soil, beneath the rock, beneath everything we build on, pressure is constantly building and releasing. Sometimes that pressure has nowhere to go sideways, so it pushes upward instead. I can think of it like squeezing toothpaste in a closed tube. If it can't move left or right, it rises. This pressure doesn't explode. It doesn't announce itself. It simply lifts the land slowly. Pause. Second, magma movement far below the surface. Now, this does not mean volcanoes are about to erupt, but deep beneath parts of the United States, molten rock exists far below the crust. When magma shifts position, even slightly, it can cause the ground above it to rise like heat expanding metal. No lava, no smoke, just subtle movement, detected only by satellites. This kind of motion can continue for years, without any dramatic event, which makes it harder to notice and easier to underestimate. Pause. Third, water shifting after droughts and melting ice. Water is heavier than most people realize. When long droughts drain underground water reservoirs, the land can sink. But when water slowly returns through rainfall, snowmelt, or melting ice, the ground can rebound. Imagine a sponge that's been squeezed dry. When it absorbs water again, it expands. In some regions, this rise is delayed, uneven, and unpredictable. adding another layer of complexity to what scientists are observing. Pause. Fourth, old fault lines slowly waking up. Fault lines don't just cause earthquakes. Most of the time, they move silently, very slowly. Some faults release stress little by little instead of all at once. When that happens, the land can rise without any shaking, a process that stores energy rather than releasing it. And that's the part that makes scientists uneasy. Because here's what needs to be said clearly. This does not mean an earthquake is happening tomorrow, but it does mean the system is changing. Rising land means energy is being added, not released. And stored energy always brings uncertainty. We may not know exactly when or how that energy will be released, or if it will be released at all. But nature keeps careful accounts. It never forgets pressure. It never ignores imbalance. Which leads to one unavoidable truth. Nature doesn't move without a reason. And it never moves for free. Something is shifting beneath America. Something powerful, something patient. And while nothing dramatic may happen today, the ground is quietly reminding us that the earth is alive and always in motion. So should America be worried? Not panicked, but aware. As land slowly rises, pressure can build on roads, bridges, pipelines, and buildings. Over time, this stress may cause cracks, misalignment, or unexpected damage. Not an instant disaster, but a growing risk if ignored. That's why scientists are watching closely. Satellites track movement non-stop. Ground sensors listen for subtle changes. Early warning signs matter. The ground beneath America is changing, slowly, quietly, invisibly. And history shows ignoring the Earth is never a good idea. If this helped you understand what's happening, like this video for awareness, subscribe for real science-based updates, and comment, did you know this was happening?